This is a quick video on how to use HD, standard IBM formatted HD disks, as an Amiga high density disk in your WinUAE Amiga emulator on a GreaseWeazle drive. So it's fairly simple. I'm going to go into WinUAE. And I'm going to load one of my configurations that I generally use, which is this Amiga 4000 Classic from the 1990s. I'm going to go over here to the floppy drives. I have 4 GreaseWeazle drives, and that's because the WinUAE supports 4 drives. And that way I'd have a lot less disk swapping when it comes to loading multi-disc games or programs. So I have a high-density IBM formatted floppy disk in drive 3. So it is important that you do not cover the hole on the disk, okay? Because the physical drive itself will recognize that that hole is covered up and recognize that the disk is of a double density format. It will think it's a double density, even if you tell the software it's an HD. So, and even if it's formatted HD. So things do not work as expected if you do that. So here we're just going to configure the floppy bridge. Now I have all 4 of my drives in here, but we're working on drive 3. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. Now it's important that if you're working with a high density disk and you want to have a high density disk, that you select the disk type of auto or HD. If you want to use the high density disk as a double density disk, you may need to select double density here, just so that you can format the disk. And then you can set it back to the auto later. So I usually use just the auto, right? The auto is nice. It will automatically recognize the disk as an HD disk when you put it in, even though it's formatted for an IBM compatible HD. It will be, of course, not formatted for Amiga DOS, but you can format it from inside the emulator. So if you know you're only going to be using HD density size floppies, which most classic Amiga floppies will be in double density, so it's not a practical idea, but if you were for some reason going to just strictly use high density, you could switch it to HD only. And once you've set this feature, you can just go OK. One final note on using double density. Setting it to double density and using the disk as a double density, you will need to cover the hole that that tells the physical floppy drive that it is an HD floppy. You need to cover that hole if you're going to use it as a double density, and it needs to remain uncovered if you're going to use it as an high density. So the disk must be physically configured, and you should use that. It should match the software configuration that you plan to use it. So we're going to go ahead and go OK to that. And then we're going to select this as drive 3 again. So all my drives are set to my GreaseWeazle drives. And I'm going to go ahead and start the emulator. There it is. It's booting. Okay, there, my drive. That is drive 3, which is, as you know, 0-based, so it's going to be DF2, meaning 0, 1, 2. So we know that it's drive 3, and it is unreadable because it's formatted IBM compatible format. So we're just going to select it, and we're going to go Format Disk. And as you see, it does detect that it is an HD disk and has a capacity of 1760, which is higher than the standard 1440, but that is the Amiga HD capacity drive. And all we need to do now is just format. You cannot quick format this because because in this case we need to full format it. So it will take time, but that is all you need to do to use it as a standard HD disk, and you can fill it. You'll be able to fill it with the 1760K capacity. And then OK to format. We'll go ahead and format, and that concludes a short little video about how to use HD formatted disks. The main thing is it's pretty simple. You just put the disk in the drive and format it. But you do need to make sure that your WinUAE is configured to either GreaseWeazle, auto detect, or HD formatted disks. And that is the only real trick there.